In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The book of Genesis is more than just the first book of the Bible. It's the foundation of our faith, a divine record of beginnings. From the creation of the universe to the calling of Abraham, from the fall of man to the promise of redemption, Genesis invites us to know God's heart. Today we'll journey through this book through a Bible quiz, one that will challenge your memory, strengthen your understanding, and refresh your spirit. Take a deep breath, get ready, and let's begin. Question 1. Who was the first man God created? Answer: Adam. Genesis 2:7. Then the Lord God formed a man from the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and the man became a living being. Question 2. On which day did God create the sun, moon, and stars? Answer: Day 4. Genesis 1:14-19. God made the lights to separate day from night and to mark sacred times, days, and years. Question 3. True or false? Eve was created before Adam. Answer: false. Genesis 2:22. Eve was made from Adam's rib after he had been created. Question 4. Who was the oldest person mentioned in Genesis? Answer: Methuselah. Genesis 5:27. Methuselah lived a total of 969 years, and then he died. He was the oldest recorded person in the Bible. Question 5. What did God place at the entrance of the Garden of Eden to guard the tree of life? Answer: a flaming sword and cherubim. Genesis 3:24. God placed cherubim and a flaming sword flashing back and forth to guard the way to the tree of life. Question 6. Who was the first murderer in the Bible? Answer: Cain. Genesis 4:8. Cain killed his brother Abel out of jealousy, committing the first murder. Question 7. What was the sign of God's covenant with Noah? Answer: rainbow. Genesis 9:13. God set the rainbow in the sky as a sign of his covenant to never again destroy the earth by flood. Question 8. How many sons did Noah have? Answer: 3. Genesis 5:32. Noah was 500 years old and he became the father of Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Question 9. What was the name of the tower the people built to reach the heavens? Answer: Tower of Babel. Genesis 11:4. The people said, "Let us build ourselves a city with a tower that reaches to the heavens." God confused their language and scattered them. Question 10. Who did God call to leave his homeland and go to a land he would show him? Answer: Abram. Genesis 12:1. God said to Abram, "Go from your country, your people, and your father's household to the land I will show you." Question 11. What name did God give to Abram? Answer: Abraham. Genesis 17:5. God changed his name from Abram to Abraham, meaning father of many. Question 12. Who was Abraham's wife? Answer: Sarah. Genesis 17:15. God also changed her name from Sarai to Sarah. Question 13. How old was Abraham when Isaac was born? Answer: 100. Genesis 21:5. Abraham was 100 years old when Isaac was born. Question 14. Who was Hagar? Answer: Sarah's servant. Genesis 16:1. Sarah gave Hagar to Abraham to bear a child. Question 15. Who was the son born to Hagar? Answer: Ishmael. Genesis 16:15. Hagar bore Abram a son, and he named him Ishmael. Question 16. What city did God destroy with fire and brimstone for its wickedness? Answer: Sodom. Genesis 19:24. The Lord rained down burning sulfur on Sodom and Gomorrah. Question 17. What happened to Lot's wife? Answer: She turned to salt. Genesis 19:26. She looked back and became a pillar of salt. Question 18. Who was Isaac's wife? Answer: Rebekah. Genesis 24. Abraham's servant found Rebekah to be Isaac's wife. Question 19. Who were the twin sons of Isaac and Rebekah? Answer: Esau and Jacob. Genesis 25:24-26. Rebekah gave birth to Esau and Jacob. Question 20. Who tricked Isaac into giving him the blessing meant for Esau? Answer: Jacob. Genesis 27. Jacob disguised himself and tricked his father to receive the blessing. Question 21. What did Jacob see in his dream at Bethel? Answer: a ladder to heaven. Genesis 28:12. Jacob saw a ladder with angels ascending and descending. Question 22. Who did Jacob work 14 years to marry? Answer: Rachel. Genesis 29:20-28. Jacob worked 7 years for Rachel, was tricked into marrying Leah, then worked 7 more for Rachel. Question 23. What new name did God give Jacob? Answer: Israel. Genesis 32:28. God said, "Your name will no longer be Jacob, but Israel." Question 24. Which of Jacob's sons was sold into slavery? Answer: Joseph. Genesis 37:28. Joseph's brothers sold him to the Ishmaelites. Question 25. What did Jacob give to Joseph to show his special love? Answer: a colorful robe. Genesis 37:3. Jacob gave Joseph a richly ornamented robe, showing his favoritism. Question 26. Who interpreted Pharaoh's dreams about the famine? Answer: Joseph. Genesis 41. Joseph interpreted Pharaoh's dreams, predicting 7 years of abundance followed by 7 years of famine. Question 27. Who did Jacob bless before his death? Answer: his 12 sons. Genesis 49. Jacob blessed his 12 sons before he died. Question 28. How many sons did Jacob have? Answer: C. 12. Genesis 35:22-26. Jacob had 12 sons, who became the 12 tribes of Israel. Question 29. What was the name of Joseph's younger brother? Answer: D. Benjamin. Genesis 35:18. Rachel named her second son Benjamin as she was dying during childbirth. Question 30. Which son did Jacob love the most? Answer: C. Joseph. Genesis 37:3. Jacob loved Joseph more than his other sons because he was born to him in his old age. Question 31. Who interpreted dreams in prison? Answer: B. Joseph. Genesis 40. Joseph interpreted the dreams of fellow prisoners, the cupbearer and baker. Question 32. Which Pharaoh promoted Joseph to second in command? Answer: C. Not named in Genesis. Genesis 41. The Pharaoh is not named, but he elevated Joseph to rule over Egypt under him. Question 33. How did Jacob show favor to Ephraim over Manasseh? Answer: B. Blessed him first. Genesis 48:14. Jacob crossed his hands to place his right hand on Ephraim, the younger. Question 34. Where was Joseph buried? Answer: C. Shechem. Genesis 50:25 and Joshua 24:32. Joseph was buried at Shechem after being carried out of Egypt. Question 35. How did Joseph respond to his brothers after their father's death? Answer: B. Wept and forgave them. Genesis 50:17-21. Joseph reassured his brothers and spoke kindly to them. Question 36. What did God create on the first day? Answer: B. Light. Genesis 1:3. God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. Question 37. Who named all the animals in the Garden of Eden? Answer: B. Adam. Genesis 2:19-20. God brought the animals to Adam to see what he would name them. Question 38. What punishment did God give the serpent? Answer: B. Crawl on its belly. Genesis 3:14. The serpent was cursed to crawl on its belly and eat dust. Question 39. Who built an ark to survive the flood? Answer D. Noah. Genesis 6-9. Noah built an ark by God's command to survive the great flood. Question 40. Which two people in Genesis are said to have walked with God? Answer A. Noah and Enoch. Genesis 5:24 and 6:9. Both Enoch and Noah are described as walking faithfully with God. Question 41. Who was the first person in the Bible to build a city? Answer: Cain. Genesis 4:17. Cain built a city and named it after his son, Enoch. Question 42. What was the name of Abraham's brother who died in Ur of the Chaldeans? Answer: Haran. Genesis 11:28. Haran died in Ur, and he was Lot's father. Question 43. What was the name of Abraham's chief servant who likely arranged Isaac's marriage? Answer: Eliezer. Genesis 15:2. Though unnamed in Genesis 24, Abraham refers to Eliezer of Damascus as his trusted servant earlier. Question 44. Who said, "Am I my brother's keeper?" Answer: B. Cain. Genesis 4:9. After killing Abel, Cain responded sarcastically to God. Question 45. How many times was the earth said to be corrupt before the flood? Answer: 3 times. Genesis 6:11-12. The term corrupt appears multiple times to emphasize the depth of mankind's wickedness. Question 46. Which patriarch had a dream involving spotted and speckled animals? Answer: Jacob. Genesis 31:10. God showed Jacob in a dream how to prosper through the breeding of livestock. Question 47. Which person in Genesis is described as a mighty hunter before the Lord? Answer: Nimrod. Genesis 10:9. Nimrod is described as a mighty hunter and a king in the land of Shinar. Question 48. What was the sign of the covenant God made with Noah? Answer: a rainbow. Genesis 9:13. God set the rainbow in the sky as a sign of his promise never to flood the earth again. Question 49. Who was older, Esau or Jacob? Answer: Esau. Genesis 25:25. Esau was born first, but Jacob came out holding his heel. Question 50. Which tribe of Israel did not receive a land inheritance? Answer: Levi. Genesis 49:5-7. The Levites were set apart for priestly duties and received cities, not territory. Thank you for taking part in this Genesis Bible Quiz Challenge. Whether you got all the answers right or learned something new, remember, every step in the Bible is a step closer to God.